Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 6 of the Diligent Wholesaler Facebook Live events. We have a very special show for you today, so thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us. First and foremost, about us, we are the Diligent Wholesalers. We have a very specific mission to change the wholesaling and real estate investment industry entirely. What do I mean by that? We want to show you complete transparency in our numbers, in our analysis, how we get the deals. We want to show you everything so you can make a decision to invest with us based upon truth, honesty, facts, transparency of analysis. Basically, so we do all of the legwork for you and we want to grow a partnership together. We do that by these Facebook Live events. We do that by, email any one of us, give us a call. We show this transparency by giving you our calculators, the same ones that we use to analyze deals. Again, all through transparency to bring honesty and trust back into the business. That's our personal mission. With that, I will, let me take a step back. To find out more about us, check out our Facebook page. If you're on this Facebook Live, you have found it before. Otherwise, it's facebook.com/The Diligent Wholesaler. Sign up for our newsletter on our website at thediligentwholesaler.com. We'll start sending you these deals that we have already pre-vetted for you. We'll send them right to your inbox. You can take a look at them. Start adding some profitable investments to your portfolio. We have a very special show today. We have some special guests that are joining us. I will kick it over to Evan, who is a member of the Diligent Wholesaler. He is the Diligent Wholesaler, and we will take it from there.
Hey guys, Evan here. In case you missed us last week at the Diligent Wholesalers Facebook page, we did a live event, episode 5, where we covered exactly how we do an appraisal, exactly how we do a CMA, a comparative market analysis on a property. And we really compared it to how an appraiser would go about evaluating the price of a property. And after that event, we actually released our cheat sheet on how to do the different adjustments so that you can line by line divvy up, exactly, hey, how much does it cost to add an extra bedroom? How much value does this add to the property? But as John said, this week we're going to be covering something different. In episode 6, we're going to be going over how to do a deal with how to do a fix and flip with no money down. And without further ado, here's Wendell to kick things off.
All right, guys. So this is a very exciting episode, as always. So I will be talking about how to do a fix and flip with zero cash out. And as Evan said, we have a very special guest. 2 people actually that they will be the ones who will provide you a big chunk of that cash. So anyway, before I jump into that, let me talk about this. So the ones in green are the components of a fix and flip, right? So if you're an absolute newbie, you don't know anything about this, and you watch this fix and flip, this fix and flip shows on TV, first of all, don't get too excited. Number 1. Number 2, don't believe everything that you saw on TV, but believe everything that I will tell you today, okay? So there are 5 things you need to factor in when doing a fix and flip. You need to have some cash, all right? And we will talk more about that today. If you don't have $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 cash in your bank account, you probably need to have good credit in order for you to get a hard money loan, right? And then, very important, is you have to have a good deal. That's what I call the collateral, right? So that's the property that you're going to renovate. It has to be a good deal. A property worth $200,000 that you'll buy for $160,000, that needs $10,000 or $20,000 in repairs is not a good deal. Okay, so, and I've seen it on these fix and flip shows on TV. They're like, hey, this is a good deal because I have like $20,000, savings, but no, it's not a good deal. And work with Evan in order for you to find what a good deal looks like. Okay, so Evan is your guy that can provide you that good deal. And then you have to have experience. Now, obviously, and that's what I call capability, right? So, so to remember this, you have 5 C's. You have cash, credit, collateral, capability. That's the experience that you need to have. And that experience, if you don't have the experience in rehabbing houses, then you need to partner with someone who has the experience. At minimum, hard money lenders will look for a general contractor that you work with that has the experience. Okay, so because if you're going out there and you're going to rehab a house that needs $100,000 rehab, right? And it's your first deal, most likely, you don't know what you're doing. You don't have a good GC. You don't have good contractors. You don't know how to manage a project before. Then you're going to fail, right? That's why hard money lenders will typically require that you have, if you don't have the experience, that you partner with one or you have a GC that is very, very experienced. And then lastly, you have to have the capacity to do it, So most of you listening to this are, brand new investors. You're a newbie investor, and most likely, you have a full-time job in addition to doing real estate investing on the side. Well, do you have the capacity to do this? Are you willing to work after office hours and during the weekends in order to oversee your rehab project? And even though today we will talk about how to go into fix and flip with zero cash, right? The fact of the matter is your credit will still be on the line even if your own cash is not, and therefore you have to watch your project like a hawk, right? You have to watch all the expenses. You have to watch the timeline, the schedule, because if you're over your schedule, then automatically you are losing money. If you're over budget, then obviously you're losing money, right? So you have to have the time to be able to watch it like a hawk. You have to be there every week, several times a week if you can. You have to talk to the GC, and you have to watch the expenses very closely. So capacity is very, very important. So all 5 C's: cash, credit, collateral, capability, and capacity. You have to have them before you jump in a fix and flip. And as I said, from a credit standpoint, by the way, you need to have a credit score of 660 and above in order for you to qualify for a hard money loan. Now, let's talk about cash, because that's what we're going to do. That's what interests you guys. How do I do this with no cash out? First, let's talk about the cash that you need in order to do a fix and flip. For a $200,000 project, that means that's the addition of your, the sum total of your purchase price and your rehab. You typically need about $60,000 in cash. Now, if you're a newbie and you're broke, you don't have any cash in your bank account, well, today is your special treat, because as I said, the 2 special guests that we have will teach you where to get the cash. So for now, let me just explain why you need $60,000 for a $200,000 project. Well, if you're using a hard money lender, right, you need to have 20% down payment. 20% down payment, a typical hard money lender will fund 100% of the rehab cost and up to 80% of the purchase price. So if you're buying the house for $150,000 that needs 50 grand in repairs, right? That's a $200,000 project. So you need 20% of the 150. That's $30,000. Then you have to pay 3 to 4 points. 1 point is 1% of the loan. So if they gave you a loan of, let's say, 100, so that's 120,000 for the purchase plus 50,000 for the rehab. So they gave you a loan for 170, right? So you multiply that by 3 to 4%. So if you multiply that by 4%, that will be about $5,800 or almost $6,000. And yes, I can calculate numbers in my head. Okay, so and if you've been in this business long enough, you can, or you will be able to. Now you also have to pay the holding cost. What are those? You have to pay the taxes for that property, the property taxes, insurance, utilities, right? Why utilities? Well, I mean, in order for you to do a rehab, right, you have to have electricity in the house. You have to have water in the house, right? And then you have to have heat in the house, especially in Chicago during winter, right? You don't want your contractors to be freezing to death, right? So you have to pay utilities, and if it's in a neighborhood or if it's a condominium, then you have to pay a homeowners association fee. And then most importantly, you will be paying interest payments, right? So holding cost is one of those expenses that most newbies don't even think about. But holding costs can easily eat up your profits. In fact, if you're not careful, your holding cost will wipe out all your profit and could end you up in a negative profit situation, meaning in the red, right? So you have to watch your holding cost. So for example, for a $170,000 loan, the holding cost, let's say you get a 12% loan, that's $1,700 per month. So if you have to hold this house for let's say 12 months, that's a lot of money, right? So how much is that? 12,000, 12 times 7, how much is that, Evan? 14, 8,400 plus 12,000. So you're talking about $20,000, right? So you have roughly $30,000 as your down payment plus $20,000 plus or more in your holding cost plus another $6,000. So voila, you have your $60,000 that that you have to put up for a $200,000 project. See, so if you don't have $60,000, now what do you do? Well, as I said, you're in for a real treat because that's where our special guests come in. So, where do you get the cash? Okay, in order to get the cash, well, there are two things, right? If you have great credit and you can wait, this is the whole topic of the conversation, and we will talk about these steps. So you have to, if you have a 720 credit score, then step 1, you put up an LLC or a corporation, right? Step 2, you apply for a business line of credit. Step 3, you deposit that business line of credit, you encash it, you put that in your bank account of your LLC for 60 days to season it. Once it's seasoned for 60 days, then you use that cash as down payment for the hard money loan. And that's how you're able to get the $60,000, in order to do the deal with that $60,000 coming out of someone else's pocket, not your pocket, right? So, can I call on Francisco and Jose, and they'll explain more about the business line of credit. So,
Yep, so first of all, I want to thank Wendell for inviting us here for the event. And just like Wendell was mentioning, it's important to obviously have access to capital. And this is the reason that we here from National Corporate Credit and also with the Diligent Wholesaler, we're here to provide information about how we can get that done. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of who we are, my name is Jose Baeza, and I know that some of you guys are listening through my page, so I really do appreciate it. And this is Francisco, my business partner. So what we've done is that we build a business where we specialize in raising money for not just real estate investors, but any type of business. About over 70% of our clientele are always real estate investors for this particular reason. You always need money. You always need access to capital. And having access to money, in this particular case, like Wendell was mentioning, you would need business lines of credit. Obviously, there's so many different ways to fund your business and your deal, but the business lines of credit is a very, very effective way of doing so. As I mentioned before on a couple of webinars,